Hello there, my name is Jared Thomas, and today I'm here with Adex clubs and maces to show you a few movements that I like to transition from the typical kettlebell world and apply those exact same moves and transitions to the Adex arc, and in particular, the Wildman style arc with its distinct width and diameter there. So both of these movements are going to culminate in the kettlebell move most commonly known as the windmill. I'm going to perform the first move, which is a hip hinge swing, where we're going to catch the globe of the Adex arc and perform our windmill. And then the second movement is going to be a low lateral swing, where we'll do the exact same thing, catching the globe of the Adex mace head, and we're going to do our windmill from that position. All right, so again, both of these movements work very well with the kettlebell, and I'm going to show you what they look like with both. All right, so to start out with, we're going to work with the Wildman Arc. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm actually going to put my hand at the middle of the handle of the arc. And again, this one is actually loaded up to about 15 pounds. You want to make sure that it's pretty light, so whether or not you've got an extra little quarter plate here, or if you want to just use the big one by itself, really you're probably wanting to keep it under 15 pounds, so that way you can learn this movement well. And then of course, I've also got a pretty good sized kettlebell, 12 kilograms, 26 pounds here from Eleiko, that I'm going to use to show you the movement in its original version. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to basically do a kettlebell swing, but we're not going to put the globe in between our legs. We're going to keep it down by our side. All right, so what we're going to first do is we're going to cast the mace out, and again, we're holding it here at the middle of our tail. So cast the arc out in front of you, and you're going to pull up. That's the very first part of this movement, is a hip hinge swing. You almost want to take your hands and chop at your hips, so that way when you bend over, you're literally chopping up those hips. You want to keep your chest up nice and tall, you guys, and you want to land right back here at what we call this order position, where we have lots of control. All right, so that's the first part. You can also switch at the top if you like, so that way one arm doesn't get too tired. You can switch every single time. And then the way that we're going to pull this into the windmill that we're so commonly used to doing with the kettlebell is we're going to do our hip hinge swing. All right, do the hip hinge swing, and you're going to catch at the globe. Now I'm trying to catch it generally right about the point where the handle meets the additional weight on the top. It's usually a good place where you've got a nice solid grip, and again, you've got good control based on where the mace, the arc is balanced. All right, and so from here, I'm going to keep my elbow and my hip. I'm going to rotate, looking backwards just slightly as my free hand gets more comfortable with my thigh. From here, I'm going to let my free hand snake down my thigh as I get a nice clean bent press that's going to push up all the way to where I've got this nice tall posture. My arms are stretched all the way out. My back is flat. And from here, you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and elevate back up, keeping that arm up and that arc up. So that way I can then lower it back down, where I will then eject the arc out, catch at the middle, do my hip hinge swing, and go again. So again, I'm catching right here at the globe head. I'm going to take my free hand, put it on my free thigh, and as I turn backwards, looking at the arc the entire time, you guys, straightening my arm all the way out, I'm going to then push up, rotate, back, push out, and go again. This move is a lot of fun, and you're going to find, just like a kettlebell, it works very well. All right, so just to show you what that looks like with the kettlebell here, what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to go ahead and grab my kettlebell. I'm going to take a step back for the sake of my arc. And again, instead of doing a swing by the side of you, this time we're just going to do a regular kettlebell swing between the legs. Again, we're going to get used to switching every time. But this time, as it comes up, I'm going to rack it here in my clean position. Again, take my free hand, look at the bell, turn about 90 degrees to the side, getting my arms nice and straight, lengthened out before I go ahead and do my push-up. Pulling that bell back in to complete my windmill to go to the opposite side. Elbow to hip, free hand to thigh, rotating about 90 degrees, looking at the bell the entire time, making sure my arms are totally straight. Then I'm pushing up, landing the bell back to my hip, and back down again. All right, so that's the first part. The second movement is going to be a very similar version to this, but instead of us using the sagittal plane with a hip hinge swing, we're going to use the frontal plane, the coronal plane, to do a low lateral swing, where we're then going to catch the globe of the arc and then do our windmill from there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to lift the arc up. Again, we want to grab the arc about midway through here, mid handle. Pull our elbow into our hip, corresponding to the body, the side of the body that we're on. So got my right hand here. I'm then going to cast the globe of the arc out. I'm going to drop my hips on the side that I'm swinging from to perform a complete low lateral swing. Let's try that again. I want you to notice my right hip, which corresponds to the same side of the body in which I'm holding the arc. I want you to notice that that side is going to bend down significantly. My left leg here is actually going to stay almost relatively straight. It's going to bend a little bit, but really more than anything, it's that same side that's going to bend down so I can create a greater range of motion, not taking too much strain on my lower back and my side or my arm. I'm just creating a little bit more window there to catch. All right. So from there, I'm going to do that same motion again, you guys, but I'm going to catch the globe of the arc so that way I can then do my windmill before coming back, pulling down, then going again. Believe it or not, you'd be surprised how well this movement helps you with the kettlebell and how it's going to help you even more as you transition between the tools. Now, just as I did right there, in order for us to switch sides with this one, guys, all we're going to do is we're going to do that low swing, but we're going to let it come up and we're going to catch with our opposite hand. Push through, then rack it on the opposite side. Do our low lateral swing, catch at the globe, free hand finds the thigh, rotate about 90 degrees backwards, look at the globe the entire time, straighten our arms out and lift up. Drop the elbow to the hip, release out, come back, catch, hand to thigh, doing our windmill, push up. All right, this is a very simple movement, but that catch and release is no joke, so just want to pay attention to it. Make sure you're staying safe, you guys. Put those arms all the way straight. Let that guy down and come back. One other thing I want to point out here is this transition. So when I cast out and I stay tall, I'm going to catch it on the other side with my other hand, let it push through for our side-to-side lateral switch here. This is a move in and of itself, and is going to help you to transition better with any mace, or any club, or even a kettlebell. All right? Just so you see that again. And then just as we did before, we're going to show you what that looks like here with the kettlebell as well. So, guys, you're going to do your regular old kettlebell swing. You're going to come chop at the hips, get a nice pull, do your launch, come to that clean position. You're going to rotate 90 degrees. And again, we're going to do that low lateral swing, bending primarily with the hip that corresponds to the side in which we're holding the bell. Cast out, low lateral swing, back. Cast out, low lateral swing, back. And anytime you receive that catch back to that clean position, you can go ahead and pop off your windmill. Take your free hand down by the thigh, look at the bell, rotate 90, straighten those arms out, pull that guy all the way back up. Cast out, back, windmill, and then back to beginning. And then this time, when we want to switch from side to side, we're just going to use the horns of the bell to accomplish that. Now, I want to point out for you guys, There's two ways to do this. The first way is to grab a horn with each hand. So as I cast it out and rejoin back in the middle, I've got one hand on each horn. And then this way, I can pick which side I want to go to. All right. But as you get better at this transition, naturally, guys, you're going to just automatically switch hands where they are. So you won't have to have one hand per horn. You'll just have one hand total. Let me show you what that looks like. I cast out, I go ahead and use my body, and I switch. Very similar to the horns. It's just instead of hanging out, I'm just going and switching my hands. All right. So once you've switched sides, again, racking in that clean position, free hand finds the thigh, looking at the belt, doing our nice press, bent press here that goes all the way straight with our arms. Or we come up, back to the top, and go again. Low lateral swing, catch at the clean, find the thigh, look at the bell, straighten the arms out after the bent press, push all the way up, bring back to clean, spark that guy down. So again, we did the hip hinge swing, where we caught the globe, did our windmill. Then we did a low lateral swing, catching the globe and doing our windmill. The only other thing to know, you guys, is that switch in between, we're drawing circles. Hands coming together right at the top and the center. Before we switch hands, hands come together, top and center, before we switch hands and sides. So again, my name is Jared Thomas, and with Adex clubs and maces, here to just show you the transition between the kettlebell and the club. Get after it, try it out, let us know what you think.